Despite intense fighting, humanitarian agencies and NGOs are pushing to deliver aid and care to the war-torn region. Mercy Corps is one of these organizations with teams in the area now. I spoke to Christine Bragale for more on how the fighting is affecting aid delivery to people who need it most.
What we've seen in the last few days is that the most direct humanitarian route from the north is cut off, and Mercy Corps is cut off from Aleppo city and surrounding areas. And at the same time, tens of thousands of people are leaving the area, making their way to the Turkish border.
This is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. It's got so many ancient, wonderful buildings that have now been destroyed. I mean, what we see, the images are just a stark contrast to the way Aleppo once looked. I know you're on the phone a lot with your people there. How do they describe the situation?
What they're describing is a very intense bombardment, airstrikes from planes as well as rocket attacks on the city, and people in a panic, essentially. They don't know where to go for safety, and they're packing up their things and leaving. And as they're making their way to the Turkish border, they are walking through a very intense battleground.
Just the first two answers to these first two questions, you add all of that up. I mean, how tough is it for these people on the ground there? It's got to be very, very difficult.
It's very difficult. Many of the families that we've been working with are now telling us that we've been their only source of food, and now we can't get to them. And so that is one very critical thing that we're very worried about, is their well-being. Are they able to have enough food? We've pre-positioned some supplies in Aleppo city, but we don't know how long they'll last. And more concerning to us, we don't know when we'll be able to get our next convoy of trucks into that area.
Talk to me about the mission. Is it tough when you talk to these people on the phone to continue this mission? Because you have goals, and yet you've got to be hamstrung, handcuffed in a way.
Our team on the ground is extremely dedicated and passionate to helping their fellow Syrians survive this crisis. We're relieved to report that they are all safe and accounted for right now. They're committed to delivering the food that we have in warehouses in the area, and they're committed to finding ways to get assistance in.
Diplomats pledging nearly $11 billion in aid at this donor conference, but pledges and deliveries are two different things. And given the difficulty in getting the aid to the people, I mean, is it realistic? I mean, how tough is it to get this stuff to them? And what does it mean to pledge if it can't be delivered?
What we've been saying all along is $11 billion in aid is big, but without a political solution, it doesn't mean very much for the people in Syria. We need a political solution. This conflict must end so that people can begin to rebuild their lives.
Political solution. So then talk to me about your thoughts with the collapse of the talks just recently. It must be devastating, especially to your people on the ground there.
For Mercy Corps, it's very concerning. We're very hopeful that the talks can bring a lasting peace to the region. We are hopeful that our leaders will be able to come together and map out a solution and bring an end to the fighting. But all along the way, what needs to happen, there must be unfettered humanitarian access to all parts of the country.
Christine, one final question. I know you're here in Washington, D.C., but your people are on the ground there. And I know you talk to them on the phone. You try and keep them upbeat. I mean, do you try and just be a sounding board for them? What are those conversations like?
They're really focused on getting their work done, and what we remind them is thank you, and you are doing very important work, and thanks to you, people are able to live another day.
Christine, thanks so much.
Thank you.